It's not good. Oilers captain Connor McDavid is expected to miss 2 to 3 weeks with a quad injury. This is according to general manager Ken Holland. Holland says the quad injury is completely unrelated to the PCL knee injury that he had last summer. But either way, this is going to be a huge impact for the Edmonton Oilers, who are fighting for postseason position. I mean, Sharpie, talk about what this means and how Edmonton's going to recover from this loss.
Well, first, let's hope it's not related. I mean, it's the same leg, is it not? That knee injury was no joke last year, when how hard McDavid worked to come back and how well he was playing this year. But this is a disaster for the Oilers. All season long, I don't know about you, Benny, but I've been saying that Edmonton's a good team because they have McDavid and Draisaitl. You take away one of the game's best players, all of a sudden it's a very different looking team. And you look at the standings in that Western Conference, everything is so tight. I'm not sure if the Oilers can afford to lose this guy.
I don't think they can. History would show that they can't win games without Connor McDavid. Leon Draisaitl is leading the NHL in scoring. If he's able to drag this team to the playoffs and keep this team in playoff position the next 3 weeks, then he should be a front runner for the Hart Trophy. But this is a team, Ken Holland came in, he's going to build the depth eventually, but it's not there yet. This is Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl, and then a huge drop-off. I hope for the sake of the game, because it's awesome to have Connor McDavid in the playoffs. I hope they can pull this out. But without him, it's going to be very difficult.
And it's not just McDavid's loss. He makes everybody else so much better. So forget McDavid's points. He produces every single night. But all those guys that ride shotgun with Connor McDavid, Zach Cassian's found an offensive touch all of a sudden. Right? Ryan Nugent-Hopkins has filled the net as of late. James Neal after that great start. Now these guys got to do it without 97.
Yeah. And, you know, you think about this tight playoff race, as I've mentioned. We're going to show you the standings here out west and in the Pacific Division. So Edmonton is 3 points behind Vancouver, so they could very easily be number one in the division. They could also very easily be out of the playoff picture. Look at that. Arizona entering play on Tuesday night, 1 point out of the final wild card spot, and they are just 1 point behind the Edmonton Oilers. So 1 point separates you from being out of the playoffs. It's crazy.
And their provincial rival, Calgary Flames, they're missing their captain for a little bit of time as well. That's going to hurt the back end of the Calgary Flames. Winnipeg's playing some great hockey. I think they're trending in the upwards direction. Arizona's got their own injuries to worry about. I like Nashville. Minnesota, we'll get to them later. They seem to be in stellar mode, even though they're right there in the hunt. So it's wide open there in the Western Conference. Edmonton's going to have to pull up their socks and play some real playoff hockey starting now if they want to get into the postseason.
I mean, you guys have both played on teams when the superstar player goes out of the lineup. I mean, Sidney Crosby, a great example. Ben, the years you were there. What exactly is the mindset in that locker room right now for the Edmonton Oilers and what they have to do in the absence of Connor McDavid?
Nobody can go out and fill in for Connor McDavid. Nobody's going to go out and all of a sudden play like the best player in the world. What everyone needs to do is step up their game and play their best hockey. Draisaitl needs to be the best Draisaitl. Darnell Nurse needs to be the best Darnell Nurse. And all down that roster, everybody has to raise their game to the level they're completely capable of. And if they do that, they have a chance. You seem to like the teams they're competing with. But if you look outside that division, I don't think Arizona is playing very well. I don't think Nashville's playing very well. Minnesota sold last night. Who knows? They've been playing well, but I don't know if they can do it. You know Chicago very well. They have a chance, but Edmonton has a pretty good chance if they're able to maintain, but that's a very big if.
Yeah. As far as how the Oilers are going to play, it's funny. I've been on teams where we've lost Patrick Kane at different times. Jonathan Toews missed significant periods of hockey earlier in his career. And it's short term, I feel like you can get away with it. You know, for a week, 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks, everybody kind of elevates their game a little bit and you get a little push from the squad that way. And then when that superstar player comes back, you're even better. But I don't know, Connor McDavid's kind of a different animal to me. He does so much for that Oilers team. It'll be interesting to see how they respond.
Yeah, we've seen some teams have to get through significant injuries in their lineup so far this season. I mean, you look at the St. Louis Blues and Vladimir Tarasenko being out the majority of the year. They've managed to maintain their position. But another team that suffered a huge loss, we found out yesterday, is Seth Jones. Blue Jackets defenseman Seth Jones. He's going to be sidelined 8 to 10 weeks after undergoing surgery to repair a fractured ankle. This is very big for Columbus. They ended up losing in overtime to the Tampa Bay Lightning last night. But this is a team that's battled through injuries, but Seth Jones on the blue line. I mean, Ben, how are they going to compensate for this?
They're not. They're going to have to do this as a complete team. He is another guy. He is just as important to his team as Connor McDavid is to his. Seth Jones is elite. He plays gigantic minutes. We've seen Columbus deal with injuries. We've seen how they've been able to cover up for guys out of the lineup. They're on their second goalie. They lost huge firepower last year. And I think it speaks to John Tortorella, the job he's done. When they're defending, it's picture perfect. Their sticks are in the right lane. They're always in the right spot. They're not cheating for offense. We saw, without Seth Jones, how well they played against a red-hot Tampa Bay Lightning team last night. But I'm of two schools of thought. He could be the one guy they can't replace. And he's so good, and they're going to miss him a lot.
And part of the reason why Columbus has managed to stay afloat this year with all the injuries that they've had is because they've had Zach Werenski and Seth Jones on the back end. And when you have two stud defensemen on the ice, or one on the ice, so covering the entire 60-minute game, you're in pretty good shape. I always think back to that Anaheim team with Pronger and Niedermeyer back in 2005, I think it was, 2006 maybe. They were just so difficult to play against. Every time you go out there, you're against one or the other. Well, now you got to do it without Seth Jones. This will be a lot to overcome, but I'm not going to doubt John Tortorella. He's done a great job with that team. Wouldn't mind a couple ugly losses in there just so we can get a post-game press conference from sorts and have some good one-liners. But Columbus Blue Jackets have been a resilient group all year.
Yeah, they've found a way to win, that's for sure. They have great goaltending this year as well, which we weren't sure about with Bobrovsky going to Florida in the offseason. Here's how they look in the standings, though. They are in that first wild card spot with 70 points, just 1 point ahead of the Philadelphia Flyers, occupying the final spot in the East. So it is tight in the East as well. Columbus going to have to get through this significant injury to Seth Jones. You see the Pittsburgh Penguins there. They're second in the Metropolitan Division behind the Washington Capitals, who've been great all year.